Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel here. Today we're going to go over changing over this Shimano XT8100 chainring that we have so far. I've got a 32 tooth on there and I'm going to be switching out to a 34. My original plans were to go with a 32 tooth oval, but unfortunately I wanted to step it up, and the 34 tooth oval, you know, at its widest point is as big as a 36 tooth round. And unfortunately the chainstay and the Vitas won't allow that, so we're going to be sticking with around 34 tooth. I did pick this up from a company called Unite Inc. In the UK, and it's a really nice piece. They make different colors. This is for the Shimano XT, and they do have one for SRAM as well, and it's made out of the 7075 T6 aluminum, and it seems like a pretty quality product, and everything's CNC machined in the UK. And it's almost like the equivalent of the wolf tooth products here in the US, and figured to give it a shot. You know, one thing I noticed with the Shimano cranks is that you don't get too many options as far as colors and designs like they do with SRAM. You know, SRAM has Shimano in that aspect where you have more options as far as colors. I mean, if you take Absolute Black for example, for the Shimano they only have a gray, silver, black, and I guess you would call it oil slick, versus SRAM they have a whole variance of colors: red, green, purple, blue. I mean, just go on with different companies, they have the same features for SRAM. But we'll go ahead and put this on, and then we'll give it a shot and show you how it's done. Alright you guys, we're going to be working outside today, so we're going to go ahead and start by removing our clutch on the derailleur here. Turn that off, and we're going to drop the chain and get that off the sprocket up here on the front. Then we're going to swing around here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of these parts. I'm not going to go ahead and narrate it, so if you guys have any questions on how I did something, go ahead and put them in the comments. So we've got the cranks off the bike, and we have to take off this lock ring. Now I did originally buy this tool for the bottom bracket, but it's got different sizes on here, and for a minute I thought I could use this, and I tried because it sits on there, but the issue is that there's chamfered edges inside this tool, and unfortunately you can't use it because it'll round out the little splines here. So I went on Amazon, and the part tool wasn't going to be here till Monday, so I ordered this one by a company called Risk. And I don't know if it's called Risk because you should use at your own risk, or if it's a quality tool. I don't know. I mean, it feels nice, and we're going to go ahead and use it. It does have two little rubber O-rings on the inside, I'm guessing to protect the spindle or the spline from getting damaged. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take some WD-40 here and just put a little bit on there just to lubricate that, because these things are kind of tight, and you can see it fits in there and it grabs real nice. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get this on the vise, and we're gonna come over here. I put a nice little microfiber here just to protect it, and we're gonna cinch that down on the vise. Some companies make a really nice plastic or rubber insert to protect your parts, but I'm just going to use a microfiber cloth or shop rag, whatever you want to use. This is pretty nice, this wrist piece. It's a little different than the Park one. The Park one has the same design on the top, but it doesn't have the splined outer, almost like a bottom bracket, and that's exactly what I'm going to use, is this bottom bracket tool to get this off. So we're going to go ahead, give it a turn. Take that off. And then we're gonna pull the tool off, and you can see how pretty snug on there because of those O-rings. And we'll take this off here, this lock ring. All right, we'll set that over there. Okay, so we have both sprockets here on the table. We've got your XT 32 tooth m8100 and your Unite Inc. Sprocket. I guess this is called the V2 sprocket. And you know, the Shimano one's not bad. It does have a spider style sprocket here where you can remove the outer ring, and the way it's secured is with these security Torx heads. I don't know why anybody would want to remove this, but you have that ability if you wanted to paint it or upgrade. I don't know if there's any options for that, but won't worry about that. And then you've got this one here, which is lighter, so we're gonna go ahead and get some weights on these. Alright, so now we're gonna weigh these parts here. So we've got the Shimano XT m8100 sprocket, and we're gonna weigh that. That's gonna be 114 grams. Alright, and the next one's going to be the Unite sprocket. That's 74 grams. Alright, so that's a 40 gram difference, and I don't know that you really feel much of that in your riding, but it is a significant drop in weight. Not that that's the reason why I did all this. I did it for the 34 tooth, but we'll go ahead and slap this thing on and see how it looks. And what we're going to use is some of this Park Tool lubricant like we had before, this grease, which works pretty well. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the crank drive side, and we're going to go and put some grease on here. Just like with everything else, grease is your friend. Okay, got that greased up. Take a little more grease, put some on the front of this. Whatever grease is left over, we can go ahead and wipe off later. Just a little thin coat. And you're gonna notice in this sprocket there's a little fat spline here. That's gonna be the alignment that you're gonna use to align this sprocket, and we're just gonna plop it on there. It takes a little bit of work, but sometimes you can get it misaligned. It just won't get on there easily. And there you go, now that's on. Now what we'll do is we'll take our lock nut, put some grease on the threads, and some grease on the actual back of that lock nut. And we'll just thread that in. Alright, once that's threaded in, we'll go ahead and take our tool, put that in there, and we'll tighten this up. Now on the back of this thing, it will say how much torque to put on this thing, and it says 35 to 50 Newton meters, which again, I don't have a Newton meter wrench. We're just going to do it the good and tight method. Alright, we've got this thing tightened up. We can get it out of the vise, and let's take a look at our work here. And it looks really, really nice on these XT cranks. Should go well with the rest of the purple components, and hopefully it won't fade. Purple anodized items seem to fade a little quicker than others, so maybe it'll last us a little while. But let's go ahead and get this back on the bike. I'm not going to go through the whole narrating the process of putting it back in, but if you guys have any questions, just feel free to message or comment, and I'll answer whatever questions you might have. Alright you guys, so finally the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and pop our chain back on, and we'll hold our derailleur here, pop this chain back on here, get that on the right tooth, let that go, and I always remind people, put your clutch back on. I always seem to forget mine and I don't notice till I'm on a trail and it's slapping around, so turn that back on, and we'll give it a couple shifts here and make sure everything's right. Shift all the way through the gear range. And everything's all set. Alright, the new gear looks pretty good on there. Nice and shiny. I went ahead and went through all the gears like we did before. Everything looks good. The chain line seems right. You know, the only thing that I didn't discuss, and I've got on order, is a new Shimano chain. Because this is a 34 tooth, I'm gonna have to increase the amount of chain I have. I don't think it's a little tight, so hopefully I'll have that sometime this week. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave in the comments or message us, or whichever one works, on Instagram or on YouTube. But hope you guys have a great day and you get out and ride.